Here is a list of every single feature in the Tails and Trails update. However, these ones can only be found in natural chests and structures, these can only be found in newly generated terrain, and these can only be crafted from one of the previous two categories, leading you to a list of features that is just the hanging signs, the new mob head note block sounds, and also the brush, which wouldn't even be useful because there's no suspicious sand or gravel. Is 1.20 an especially bad update for Superflat? The answer is yes, but how does it compare to previous updates? Is there something they can do to fix it? And what the heck is going on with the exploration heavy theme of this update? Let's explore all of that today. By the way, I love wacky challenges. That's why I played over 100 hours of very hacky Superflat. But if you do want to see my future challenges, and believe me, there's going to be lots of them, you can subscribe, perhaps have notifications turned on. And for an entirely unrelated fact, greater than 99% of house fires happen to those who don't. Anyway, Superflat Survival is only a semi-intentional game mode. Jeb himself even clarified that right here, and it came to the game alongside creative mode to give you the ability to build without barriers. Yeah, this was definitely easier to build without any trees to get in the way of my beautiful art. Here's the question though, what has happened in every update since it came out, which was 0.9 for Bedrock and 1.1 for Java? Have they made Superflat harder or easier, or just ignored it altogether? Given that it is a tiny percentage of overall players going through this, let's go through very briefly together every update from 1.1 to now. Oh, and we'll be using the Java edition because even though I'm a Bedrock player, I know the Java update's much better because of the weird console edition history. Try not to think about it too much as we mention 1.2, which came out with precisely nothing that Superflat could use. This update was focused around jungles as well as bringing in the desert well, but because there were no jungles or iron golems or ocelots that you could find in Superflat, there was nothing for you in 1.2. In 1.3, there were slight changes to all sorts of mobs and the introduction of the trading system. However, at the same time, there was no way to find these structures in a Superflat world until 1.4 because this was the update where the Superflat customization GUI came in, where you can actually customize your Superflat, but even if you didn't customize it, you left it as the free blocks by default, then generated structures could now be generated in this mode. You could turn these off if you wanted to, but the fact that they are possible at all on Java is one of the big benefits of that addition, because we have to make most of our assumptions about what is good for Superflat under the world of not having any structures, because they're still not possible on the Bedrock edition. Anyway, the addition of generated structures and the addition of customizable Superflats was a huge change made to Minecraft Java in 2012, and it was made for Bedrock in 2024. I hope. If I say it out loud, it becomes true, right? Speaking of saying things out loud, the next update was the Redstone update, and this was a really minor one for Superflat worlds because Redstone could only be obtained in a Superflat world from killing witches, which wouldn't spawn naturally in the world yet. You needed a witch hut, and there's none of those in Superflat, so all of the brand new Redstone features are not found in there. Also, this was the Nether Quartz update, and although you can technically go to the Nether on Java by using naturally generated lava and water, this is not possible on Bedrock, and so everything this update was exclusive to Java Edition structured Superflat players. Next up, we have the horse update. This is a really cool one because they will spawn naturally in the plains, which is what a Superflat world is, and so you could finally ride horses around. I mean, not that you really have a great reason to, but it's a nice idea. Also, carpet is a great idea, and also, has to be mentioned, hay bales were found for the first time in this update. So, even though it's not a lot of features, 1.6 was a pretty decent one for Superflat. There are at least new features available. 1.7, on the other hand, brought the chicken jockey, technically obtainable. It brought witch spawning into the overworld, which meant you could officially get redstone. It brought stained glass, and it brought new types of wood, except, you can't get those new types of wood because they do not spawn in a Superflat world. Honestly, when you look at a lot of these updates, you realize that, yeah, a lot of the update content isn't actually available there. I mean, even 1.8 with its guardians, elder guardians, endermites, and rabbits, you know, good luck finding any of those in the world. There were a lot of new block types, such as diorite, andesite, granite, the prismarine, etc., but none of these were obtainable besides the slime block for killing slimes, and if you killed the sheep, you'd get mutton. The entire bountiful update, known as one of the greatest updates, mostly because it was before 1.9, but one of the greatest updates in Minecraft history. Then there's the combat update, and honestly, I'm not sure why it's called the combat update. Did it change something about the combat? Could you let me know in the comments if you think there's a good thing about that? But obviously, that's a Java-only change, so we're going to be talking about the grass path as the major thing you get as a Superflat Superflat player, and also the beetroot crop and the skeleton trap. The rest of the update was very end-focused or potion-focused, very much unobtainable to the average Superflat player. Again, without structures is what we're talking about here. Then we've got 1.10, the Frostburn update, and boy did this bring so many feature for the Superflat players. There is the bone block, but the rest of the update is entirely unobtainable, and so yeah, one feature for an entire update. The exploration update also was a very much, this is our first exploration update, I should say, and what did you get if you're a Superflat player? Well, you could technically craft this observer block if you could go to the Nether, you could craft this shulker box if you could go to the end, and you could smelt down your gold or iron into nuggets if you had a furnace. Obviously, none of those things are possible, and so instead, this was a non-update for Superflat players. One of the big ones, the World of Color update, you could argue, made huge changes for Superflat players, making it technically, because I mean, they changed all the colors, but as far as features you could actually use go, it's changing the color of your bed or banners, and also anything that's made of wool or carpet would change, but realistically, not very much. The update Aquatic changed oceans in a huge way, and how many oceans are there in a Superflat world? I'll give you a clue, there's none. And so although this update did add new pressure plates and trapdoors and the ability to strip your logs or even turn them into six-sided wood blocks, the one big feature that wasn't a minor change that was available to all players, you're gonna love this one, it's the Phantom. Oh yeah, what a great Superflat update 1.13 was. The Village and Pillage update, on the other hand, is the one that changed a bunch of things. The new trading mechanics were huge. The brand new, pillagers and the ability to get raids is kind of interesting, if nothing else. But the big one is the Wandering Trader. 1.14 made Superflat survival viable by making it so you could get so many blocks that are biome specific in a Superflat world. The Wandering Trader is widely mocked as being worthless, and for basically every Minecraft player he is, because you need to be really far up a villager tech tree to have the emeralds to trade with him, and if you have emeralds to trade, you probably have the ability to explore, but in a single biome world where the ability to explore doesn't mean finding new biomes, getting access to one of these, whoa, look at this, all of the tree types, that's amazing too, and so I would have to say 1.14 is a game-changing update, and that's before we mention the lantern, which is exciting by itself, the brand new types of wooden signs, and the campfire, which not only can be traded with from villagers, but also can be made in general, effectively allowing you to turn wood into charcoal, which then can, be turned into all the sorts of things you want, mostly torches. But still, isn't that incredible? I think that's incredible. And so yeah, this update was a huge one for new blocks, a huge one for Superflat players, a huge one for everyone overall. Honestly, it's one of the great updates of all time, and it's followed by the Buzzy Bees update, which can be considered to be the opposite by some players. But think about it this way, I think the Buzzy Bees update was great for Superflat. It is the highest percentage of content that you can enjoy as a Superflat player. The bees are entirely obtainable because enough trees will eventually spawn with a bee nest in them. You can get the big new mob for this update. You can also get the bee hive just by getting the honeycomb. You can get the honey bottles and therefore make honey blocks. I mean, sure, there's like 4 major features in this update, but every single one of them was obtainable in Superflat. The Nether update, on the other hand, was one of the biggest updates, and the amount of content that was available in Superflat is measured very, very lightly. I mean, you can technically get your hands on if you maybe the one with the soul campfire, I guess. No, you don't have soul sand. You can make a chain. Aha! The chain and the target blocker, both obtainable in Superflat. And so yeah, you kind of get the point. Caves and Cliffs Part 1 was also very much a naturally generated update, with the Caves and Cliffs Part 2 being a really interesting version, because Caves and Cliffs brought in a lowered height limit, effectively bringing in, by lowering the world to -64, you got 64 extra blocks to play around with. You also got drowns dropping copper ingots. This was the one that was required for Bedrock to actually be playable, because getting a charged creeper, or getting, more importantly, piglins to drop gold ingots is near impossible by waiting for lightning to strike randomly, but if you have copper, which drowns would give you in this update, then you could finally get it. So yeah, this was a pretty big one in terms of the features that did come, but they weren't wasn't necessarily geared towards the players that way. And then the wild update was pretty mild too. I mean, it came in with its mangrove trees, and it came in with its mangrove roots and its mud. Perhaps even better than both of those things are the new cursed books you could trade from villagers, but overall it was an update that was very much based around exploration. And so when we come to Tales and Trails, I think it is normal to look at this and say, well, it is more than some updates we've had, and but it's still in the bottom 50% of those, and that's impressive given that the more updates come out, the more older features become accessible later down the line. And so overall, is the Tales and Trails update a bad update for Superflat? Yes. Is it the worst thing ever? No, because at least it's not no features. We do have the hanging signs, we do have the mob head sounds, and there's these tiny changes that can be made elsewhere. However, I think in terms of what, looking at that, Mojang shouldn't say it's not the worst, it's not the absolute most terrible thing we've ever done. Instead, I'd say they should look at it and say, how do we make it better? How do you make 1.20 a better Superflat update? And here's the solution. So when trying to balance Superflat, it's really important to carefully consider all of the various elements that make the game perfectly balanced, and I'm just kidding, it's none of that. It's the Wandering Trader. If you want to make Minecraft 1.20 a great update, you just need to give new trades to the Wandering Trader. For example, he can't currently sell bamboo. If he could sell bamboo, then you can create new ways to sell stories and add lore to your Superflat worlds as well. That is not a hard change to make. Add one extra trade to his list, and while you're at it, why not give him the cherry trees? Right now, cherry saplings are not tradable with the trader, but I imagine by release they probably have plans to do something like this. Adding those two simple trades to him will make the update content go from 90% unobtainable via this to more like 50%, and that is a huge change with two simple trades. You can make them cheap, you can make them expensive. I honestly would say that when you're looking at any given update, if you want to make weird challenges, and Superflat especially, more approachable, all you've got to do is make the Wandering Trader a slightly better mob. Embrace his identity as the curiosity, the explorer of the world. He has some tales to tell with all of these items that he's got, and I think if you just lean into this and say, what if he had more items? What if more of the useful things that we actually need as players could be found with the Wandering Trader? Then more people might be willing to give him a bit of a try. I think that while we're here, we could totally mention that Superflat could really do with an obtainable way to get lava. Lava can be made infinitely once you get one by using just a cauldron and some dripstone, but getting that first lava can only be done via natural generation, either via the nether or via lava pits, but neither of those things exist on Bedrock Superflat, so give the Wandering Trader access to a bucket of lava. This is something I had to do on my own map where I fixed a lot of Superflat's flaws. It's called Ultraflat Survival. If you're a Bedrock player and you don't have access to mods or anything like that, downloading Ultraflat Survival is a great way to have all of these fun changes added to your Minecraft world. I mostly just love the ability to play with structures on. They're very weird structures because we can't use Minecrafts, but I think it's a really fun way to do it, and I totally recommend Ultraflat Survival. I've seen a lot of you playing it, and I'd love to see more of your progress, so tweet it at me if you've been playing Ultraflat, and if you haven't, give it a shot. It's available right now. But just to finish this solution up, I would say that I would like my map to be made worthless. I would like it if no one had to buy my map ever again, because all these changes were made to Superflat, and all the ones you have to make are like, okay, what if piglins were possible? What if it was doable to get lava? If lava's doable, then you can get enough lava to fuel furnaces, because once lava is possible, then obsidian's possible, cobblestone is possible, which makes furnaces and the nether a thing, and then all I would say is use Superflat and lean into the nether and the end. Again, just on my own personal map that I made so people could have the most fun experience, I made the nether a fun, flat place. I made the end into a fun, flat place, but the way Minecraft could approach these problems with much more man hours than just me as a person would be really great. Or you could see this the other way and you could say, wow, you can get access to a whole early Superflat update via that. Either way, I think that 1.20 is a bad Superflat update that could be made into a good one, and if there's anything you take from this video, if you're a Mojang employee, just give the Wandering Trader new trades. Every 6 months or so, have like an alarm go off if you're the guy in charge of the Wandering Trader and be like, what new items could he make use of? Because again, I do think the fun of like, what if he gives you suspicious sand? What if he gave you, he could give you armor trims. He could give you all sorts of the Netherite upgrade template. What if he could give you those? There's all sorts of fun ideas I'd love to see. And the other thing I'd say is, Superflats on Bedrock could clearly do some work to make them match Java, but at this point I'm asking too much, and instead I should just say thank you for watching, thank you for spending your time with me today, and I hope I've got to go out. I'm meeting a friend in 10 minutes. We're going to a pub. But if you did enjoy this video, like the video, and I don't know, you can help buy me a drink. Or probably they sell mac and cheese balls at the pub. I love the idea of mac and cheese balls, but they never taste as good in reality as they do in my mind. But I'm gonna buy some mac and cheese balls if you like the video. That's how it works. Trust me. I don't understand YouTube revenue. It's definitely we get paid when you like it. And subscribe if you want to see more videos about Superflat and my other weird challenges, because I do those quite a bit. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you not at the pub. Bye. Also, do you like my shirt that is the same color as the background? That's fun, huh?